I'm speaking with Matthew Goldfine from Alloy. Matthew, thanks for talking with me.
Pleasure.
Okay, first of all, we're looking at this new digital realm where we're trying to reach customers with important messages. Looking back over traditional advertising and marketing, there were certain ways you got to know a company and you got to know their messaging and what was going to resonate. Have those rules changed? I know we're distributing content in new places and the content is of different types now, but have the fundamental rules changed of getting to know messaging from a company and how to touch their customers?
Ultimately, engagement is still engagement, right? And getting people in the right environments to tell your message is the key to the entire process,
Yep.
right? So at the end of the day, the barriers to entry are so low through digital that it makes it increasingly hard to do that. But if one is in a position to create great content, we just heard a little bit about magnetic content in our keynote speaker,
Yep.
and put it in the right environments in terms of engagement and then activating around it through that core customer, which we also heard about, that's going to win the day.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier in some ways to do it because you can go so far to get stuff out there, unlike a quote-unquote traditional network, but it's a lot harder at the same time because there's so many options.
Sure, okay. How do you help a company to narrow down their options? Where do you recommend they start?
I think we start, just like we just heard in that keynote speaker, it's creating great content. It's creating a great marketing platform that anchors with content as the anchor.
Yep.
So that's the first kind of piece of entry. Once you have that, it's not, well, hope someone sees it.
Sure.
It's thinking strategically about distribution. Everyone says, oh, well, content is king, et cetera, et cetera. If content is king, distribution is queen. And part of that distribution now is engagement through activating on social, et cetera.
Absolutely.
So social is just ultimately, to be flippant about it, another distribution platform. But you have to go a step further than that and say, okay, if I'm going to distribute on social, how do I leverage that distribution platform with efficacy?
Right. How do you know the content's going to be good? What are two things that I should look for as I'm actually creating content?
It's an excellent question. And you know what? I think that it's being, number one, objective about it.
Sure.
It's leveraging that creative gray area to put some stuff together, to be smart about it, and then be objective about it and show it around versus telling each other that it works.
Right, of course.
And developing that process and that muscle is very difficult, but once you have it, you kind of have it. You know,
Okay.
Alloy developed that muscle through traditional mediums,
Yep.
and it has 7 shows on ABC Family and Nickelodeon and CW this fall.
Right.
But ultimately taking that lens and that recognized appreciation for great content and
Yep.
putting on other distribution platforms is where we started. And that's not something you roll out of bed and do.
Absolutely. What is the coolest project you worked on this last year, and what is the most effective project, and were they the same thing?
Not sure about the efficacy of it yet, but the coolest project I've worked on in the last year is a partnership with SC Johnson. They have a new product launch going on now for an amazing product that helps go away with the toilet scrubber. So it's just a one-step cleaner.
I love it.
So go and check it out on Facebook. Basically, they had a new product launch and they wanted to leverage social in the right way, which was to find their hand raisers who were going to be passionate about the product and have them talking about it.
Yep.
And how best to do that? Content and distribution.
Absolutely.
They made social and Facebook their hub as a distribution place.
Yep.
But they wanted to drive people there through engaging content, so they came to us. We created a marketing platform for them. We leveraged paid media in an effective way, then leveraged social in terms of one-to-one and one-to-many, and put a consumer promotion around that. And it's going on now, and you know, we're talking to them about next steps, so far so good. I can't sit here and tell you it had the highest degree of efficacy because we're not through it yet.
Sure.
But that was by far, you know, creating great content, it works, the client's happy, the producers are happy because they're working on something exciting and different, and being able to do that around toilet cleaner is just a different thing for me, so it's cool.
Absolutely. And when you have that meeting with a client, how are you going to measure the success? What are your top few benchmarks?
They have put some stuff through from a social perspective, and ultimately how they're going to measure is there's a significant trial piece to this. They're having a coupon that drives trial. You have to download the coupon at Facebook, and we are kind of the keeper of that experience at Facebook.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it's a little bit loose, but as we just heard Jeff say, measuring social media is the most difficult thing one can do right now. So if trial is up, we're going to be in a good shape.
That's a lot of fun launching a new product, because extending a brand is one thing, but actually launching something that's brand new is a fun puzzle to solve.
Yeah, definitely, particularly when you're talking about it within the sort of hierarchy of a great, powerful, traditional brand like Scrubbing Bubbles. It's iconic, everybody recognizes it, and you're feeding off that.
Yeah.
And then doing something with a learning part of it, but also teaching people a new way to do things.
So what are some of the projects you've worked on that we can actually go out and see?
Couple big things Alloy's working on right now that we're very excited about. A property in partnership with P&G and a partnership in property with Macy's. partnership with property with Macy's is around back to school. It's a show called Wendy, which is real scripted, engaging programming from the guys behind Gossip Girl and Pretty Little Liars, and it starts now.
Yep.
And that's available through social networking, through YouTube, through our distribution platform on great sites, and then same thing goes for Talent and P&G. They loved it so much they're coming back for season 2. And one of the great things about the digital world is you don't have to wait a year for season 2. We launched it in the winter. It went really well, and they're coming back in fourth quarter of this year.
That's great. Okay, Alloy is an expert company within your realm. What is your top advice for companies, whether they're going to work with you or whether they're just trying to figure this out on their own? What's your number one piece of advice?
Test, try, jump in the deep end of the pool. Don't be afraid of, the biggest thing that I see now in my role is looking for a box to put digital in.
Yep.
And how a company defines digital. And at the end of the day, that's not possible. You have to try different things. You have to take a bit of a portfolio approach, whether it's video or search or brand engagement, whatever the case is and whatever you think is going to work based on your CI and the research you've done, try it. And just because it doesn't work doesn't mean it doesn't work.
Sure. So just get in and figure it out as you go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. Test it, measure it, and really you will kind of find your way.
And if you do 5, 6, 2, 15 different projects and you have that strategic thing pulled through from a metrics and results perspective, that's what's going to wind up winning 2 to 5 years ago, because there is no model right now.
Right.
The best thing about it and the worst thing about it about digital is nobody knows.
Right.
Nobody knows.
So inspire us. Why is this a great place for us to be right now?
I think because the lines are so bled, it requires all those people involved to be experts at marketing, at distribution, at channel, at consumer. It's not tried and true, and while it makes it very challenging to win, when you do win, it feels great, and you really become an expert for your client in a way that you weren't necessarily needing to be 10 years ago, 15 years ago, et cetera.
I find it very exciting. It's fun seeing brand new ideas come out and really come to the forefront very quickly. So very closing question, is this digital media realm, whether it's video or whatever else, is it a game changer or is it critical, and why?
I think both. I think ultimately the game has changed already. We've been hearing sort of the same similar messages from our industry for upwards of 10 years.
Yep.
And therefore it's become critical, because ultimately, whether you're a 16-year-old boy or you're a millennial mom, this is what is the norm. When you have that escapism media moment where you've got 2 to 5 minutes to hang out and do something, you're not going to turn the television on necessarily. You might if you have IPTV set up, but you're going to basically take it in a place that's easy and convenient at that moment. And because that's happening, if you're not in there, you're missing a critical opportunity.
Absolutely. Matthew, thank you very much.
Thank you.